The Kansas City Chiefs have hit the practice field for the first time this training camp as a complete team. We got a bunch of news, notes, and action to cover in this jam-packed day. So let's get right into that. But before we do, please be sure to subscribe to the channel, like this video, as I'm going to keep you up to date on anything Kansas City Chief related that you do not want to miss out on. And without further ado, let's have some fun. Now, before we get too far ahead of ourselves, we are covering day one. And the main topic of conversation everyone's going to be wondering is the Chris Jones situation. We're not going to be discussing that in this video. I released a video last night, so if you want to get my thoughts on the whole Chris Jones situation, please go check that video out. Today, we're discussing about the players that were there and all the action that took place. And there was also, I guess, another unfortunate news situation that took place inside the Kansas City Chiefs training camp, and it involved Kadarius Toney. And it was in his first set of reps on punt returns where he tweaked his knee a little bit and it set him back, and he didn't practice throughout the remaining of today's camp. Now, of course, when you hear Kadarius Toney and you hear knee injuries or any kind of injuries, it's pause for concern, because that's the whole thing that has been holding Kadarius Toney from being a great receiver in this league. And it seems like a rinse, cycle, repeat, we're at it again. Honestly, I'm not thinking it's anything too serious. I think he'll be fine. They will obviously monitor the situation, expect him to be limited or not participating in camp for this week, which will catch the media outlets and everyone will be raving and talking about it. But at this point, it is nothing serious. But with that, it also caught eyes that undrafted wide receiver, hype train kid himself, Justyn Ross, was running routes with the ones. And yes, you know Chiefs Kingdom went crazy about it. This is something I'm not going to buy the hype with completely as well. Not Justyn Ross, him running with the ones. Now, we'll have to see what it looks like when camp progresses. Was he just running with the ones because Kadarius Toney wasn't there, or was that something by design? Also, why I'm not buying completely into it, we see what Coach Reed and staff does. Everyone gets a chance to run with the ones and how it looks. So I do believe Justyn Ross will get a legit shot this preseason to show his talent and try to stand out in this camp. But day one to say, oh my God, he's going to be wide receiver number one right away just because he's running with the ones, I don't think that's the case. If you look back to last year, we had the backup. I don't even remember his name now, but that's how, I think it was Christensen. See, I mispronounced it. Christensen, the backup left tackle for Orlando Brown when he was holding out. I don't even think it was him. I think it was someone else too. That's how much I'm drawing a blank. But he ran with the ones, and then a couple weeks later, he got cut. Not saying Justyn Ross is going to get cut. I'm just saying don't buy too much into him running with the ones. But I'm going to continue the trend, and I'm going to stay in the wide receiver room, because a wide receiver that Chiefs Kingdom is thinking not even going to make the roster and might be cut before the 53-man initial roster is released is Richie James. And boy, was he a standout today. Pete Sweeney even mentioned that Richie James is wearing McCole Hardman's old number, and he's looking just as good as McCole Hardman and fits that number perfectly. And he's showing by that is he's elusive, you see the speed, and you can see he fits into this team very well. As I mentioned in previous videos, it is so hard for me to imagine Richie James not making this roster. I think he's going to be a good core pivotal piece for this team moving forward, where he's going to make good plays each and every week, to where he's going to be that reliable guy early and often in the season. Should we switch the trend a little bit and go on the defensive side of the ball? It feels like that doesn't get a lot of love. So let's focus on some guys on the D. And I'm going to start out with Leo Chenal, who has had a very good start to his day one of training camp. And one thing that caught my eye, and a lot of people's eye, was he was actually playing downs as a defensive pass rusher, which wasn't surprising, but something we welcome. Because when you watch what Leo Chenal did in college, that boy loved to get after the quarterback. And if you get Leo Chenal getting after the quarterback with this Kansas City Chiefs pass rush, that would be so much fun, because it's something we didn't get to see a lot in his rookie year. And if Spags gets a package with Leo Chenal getting after the quarterback, That is what Chiefs Kingdom envisioned once he was drafted. So I hope to see that implemented next year because death row, getting after the quarterback, you just keep that coming. That's going to be fun to watch. And another guy on the defensive side of the ball where Chiefs Kingdom thinks is going to take huge leaps. And when I mean huge leaps, they think he's going to be a top 10 cornerback next year. And I'm a part of that. I think Trent McDuffie is going to be huge next year, and he displayed some of his talents today. He had an amazing day today where he was tracking the ball, he was tracking defenders, he was tracking wide receivers, and he was all over the field. The package started off with him playing inside slot, and you had Snead on the outside with Jalen Watson, and boy, to see the pairings that he was drawing and how good he was playing, he was even making some tackles where I don't know if that is allowed at this point in the practice, but hey, I love the physicality and it's fun to watch. And it was against Richie Rice. The rookie made the catch on him, but you love to see that. It's what builds the team and makes it stronger. McDuffie also had this impressive diving pass breakup against MVS. And a lot of people discredit MVS for what he is, but he is a solid wide receiver and he had solid elite speed. And for McDuffie to stay step to step with him and then make a pass breakup on a lengthy wide receiver at that, man, I'm so excited to see what McDuffie does next year because his rookie year, I think we just got a taste because early on he was dealing with his injury and you saw in the later portions of the year, this kid can be special. I think in his sophomore year, he may be special. Now let's flip it back to the offensive side of the ball and let's talk about my guy, the guy I've been raving about all off season, and it is Sky Moore. And he stood out great in day one of training camp. He had the play of the day maybe on the offensive side of the ball, and I think it was one of the first few reps where he caught this great pass from Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes led him in stride, and then he did the rest. One, it's funny because we all question on what Sky Moore can be at the next level, but Snead was in coverage. He burned Snead and then made a play on Justyn Reed to get into the end zone. Now, of course, it was live game action. Is that a touchdown? That's neither here nor there. It was a touchdown here. And he also had really good catches throughout the day. And you could see that relationship between him and Mahomes that was being built in Texas early on this offseason just got stronger and stronger. And that's the thing I've been mentioning. Sky Moore has all the tools to be a really, really good receiver in this league. It's that chemistry. And if that chemistry is intact with Mahomes next year, tell me he cannot be a 1,000-yard receiver. Or tell me he can't be a number one wide receiver for the Kansas City Chiefs next year. I think he's going to be someone who is going to be depended heavily on next year, and he's going to be fun to watch. But also, there was a down moment for Sky Moore I almost said in this week, but in today's camp, and it was the play of the day, and it was Willie Gay. Willie Gay had him in coverage. Sky Moore looked like he had a touchdown over him, and Willie Gay made a phenomenal pass breakup on him, and it was a sight to see. This is also going to lead into next year as well because it feels like every year we always hype up Willie Gay, and we're like, oh, he's going to be a great linebacker, and he's been good. But I don't think he's lived up to the expectation Chiefs Kingdom has put on him. And if he makes plays like that in the secondary, and there's also been comments that Spags may have him go after the quarterback more, there's no question. Willie Gay is our most athletic quarterback, is our most athletic linebacker. And if he's on full display next year, he may be someone fun to watch. And also, it's contract year. It's put up or shut up time. And they also gave him competition with now Drew Tranquill. And you have this linebacking core with Nick Bolton leading the way. Leo Chanel, as I mentioned. Drew Tranquill. Come on. This unit is jacked. It's going to be so much fun to watch. And I'm excited to see these linebackers go to work next year. But with that, Chiefs Kingdom, I try to wrap up a quick breakdown of day one of the Kansas City Chiefs training camp and the key takeaways. I know I missed some. We try to give you a quick rundown. Let me know some things that caught your eye and may be huge going into next season for the Kansas City Chiefs. With that, I'm going to sign off. But before I do, please be sure to subscribe to the channel. If you did like this video, please leave that big thumbs up. I'm checking out. Y'all take care. Peace.